welcome to Metaphysical Moments. I'm your host, Sid Patrick, world-traveled medium. On today's episode, we have Tianne Lastra. Tianne is a Reiki master and practitioner. She'll be joining us soon, right after this commercial.
Welcome to a different kind of inner peace. Here at the Metaphysical Resource Center, you will find a variety of classes, services, and events. We sell metaphysical products and accessories. You can schedule a session with one of our professional healers, mediums, readers, or even a table tipping event. We are your resource for all things metaphysical.
We know you're coming, darling, for that reading, and tell them Psychic Sissy sent you.
Well, now we're going to join Tianne. Hi, Tianne.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I want you to explain to our audience, because I know you have many titles, so go ahead and give us all your titles and tell us a little bit about each of them, how you got them.
Okay. My first title is Traditional Usui Holy Fire Practitioner. I am also a Shihan in the system of Reiki that's originated in Japan. That's called Jikiden, of which I'm very proud and very excited of. I'm also studied Rainbow Reiki, which is a system developed by Walter Lubeck. I have studied Healing Touch, Animal Reiki. I work with crystals, and those are the ones I can think of right now.
Okay, great. And so tell us a little bit about why would someone come for a Reiki session, or what does Reiki do to benefit, someone?
The main purpose of receiving and experiencing Reiki is as we're told by definition, which is a system that is used for stress reduction and relaxation. So that is the first situation in which people seek to use Reiki in their lives. Another good reason is to lower the levels of stress. And everybody, including the medical community, is speaking about the issues of stress that we're dealing with. We have issues with our families, we have issues with our employers, with our work, with the world in general. And what we're finding, speaking from the medical point of view, is that stress does affect your health. So there's a very, very important drive right now within the medical profession of leading people into finding ways of combating the stress, and Reiki is coming out to be one of the most important ones at this time.
Really great. So in your journeys and in the many things that I know you do, tell our viewers and explain to me too a little bit about what is entailed in a Reiki session. What actually goes on during that session.
Okay, the first thing that I would like to point out that Reiki is not affiliated with any type of organized religion, but it is a spiritual practice. In difference from other healing modalities that I personally practice, such as pranic healing and healing touch, when I work with this Reiki energy, I feel and we believe that we are connected directly to Source. And Source can be whatever you believe is above you and higher to you, something or someone that you can connect with. Some people call it God, some people call it Buddha, some people call it universal energy. It's a matter of what your religious training and beliefs are. But the truth is, we all seem to believe that there's a higher source. So when we're working with Reiki, we're directly connected with that higher source. And that higher source is the one actually directing our session. For that reason, what we believe is that we are not the ones to have the power to heal, but we can become clear conduits to this beautiful Reiki energy. So that is the work that we do. We connect, and through us, the energy is transmitted to the person that we are working with.
Great. And I want to talk a little bit to you about, so if I was to come to your office and I know y'all use a table, I'll lay on your table.
Yes.
What would I expect to happen? What would I expect to feel? What changes have you seen? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, the first thing is that we are all different and we will experience the session depending on how open we are to receive and also what our expectations are. But one thing that goes across the board is an intense feeling of peace, of tranquility, complete lack of judgment. We're loved and we're accepted exactly like we are, and that comes through in every session. We feel profoundly loved. We know we're always safe and protected. So there is an immense value in feeling that way, because we're so distracted by everyday things. We really never have time to really focus on what it is that we're feeling on the inside. And the peace is such and the comfort is such that for the first time, perhaps too many, we can sit within yourselves and look inside ourselves and see, this is something that I want in my life, this is something I no longer want in my life, and just release it. So it is a very, very powerful spiritual experience. I say the most important thing is the feeling of being loved, accepted, nurtured, and that always happens in every session.
So Tianne, again, if I would walk into your studio, how would you greet me? So you'd greet me at the front door, and I would tell me exactly what we'd do. I'd come in for an appointment.
Well, immediately there seems to be a personal connection. I feel that if you're coming to me, it's because you're supposed to be there. So a lot of hugs happen. Of course, we respect that some people may not have that type of personality, so we kind of wait. And we're always pleasantly surprised that we are hugged before we actually get to hug somebody else. I guess it's because people intuitive know that they're in the right place for them, and they want to be open so that they can receive the most that they can. So we just come in. I usually show them the office, and then we sit down and we talk for a little bit. I find that it's really important for the person to understand what it is that's going to happen to them. And that was a big lesson to me, because the first time that I received a Reiki session, I was not told what was going to happen, what I could expect. I was just told to sit on to lay on the massage table. And when I started experiencing things, I kept wondering if I was making them up, if they were real, and what was that supposed to be happening. So I always try to give them a little bit of my background, so they know that I have been formally trained, that I have taken my Reiki education very seriously, and I have studied for over 9 years now consecutively. And also I want them not to be surprised. I want them to have some information as to what can expect, without creating an assurance that that's what's going to happen, because we all experience things in different ways. After that, we go into a room that's completely prepared to be conducive to relaxation, with pleasant, very mild music playing. I use a lot of aromatherapy in my sessions, which works out wonderful. And then they lay on the massage table fully clothed. The only thing that I ask for them is to remove their feet. Their shoes, because I work a lot in the feet. Because I think that feet not only support us, but create an energetic connection with the earth, and it's important that we're activated to receive that connection. So after that, we go through a series of hand positions, and by going through those hand positions, we essentially treat the whole body. After we go through the hand positions, we scan the body, and this may be done in different orders by different practitioners, but we scan the body to find if there are areas that need more attention, and then we concentrate and go back and treat those areas. So it's a process that takes about 45 minutes to an hour. My experience is the person goes pretty fast into a very deep meditative state, which allows for wonderful things to happen.
So during that scan, let's say you find a hot spot.
Okay.
So do you fix that all in one session, or is sometimes made that take more than one session, or is that just dependent on the client?
It all depends on the situation, and of course it depends upon the client. We cannot do the work for our clients as much as we would like to. So it all depends how committed this client is to his own wellness and to his own healing. In terms of treating the area, When we find areas that are of interest, like I call them, sometimes it's an issue that has been there for a little while. So it would not be really reasonable to expect for that one session is going to take care of all the issues. And there may be more than one. But we focus on that, we treat it, and we intend and we ask for the issue to be resolved. Also important, I do not need to know the details of what the issue is, because what I'm scanning is for the energy of the body. So that energy as it comes out from that area has a meaning to me without me knowing exactly if this is a mental emotional issue or whether it's an actual physical issue. And in regards to physical issues, I would like to point out that we're not medically trained. Therefore, we don't give advice in terms as to what we think the issue is, try to impose a diagnosis, try to say, take this medicine or do not take this medicine. We are trained to respect boundaries, and we know that we're not medically trained, so we don't venture even into giving advice in that direction.
But in many cases, you do work with physicians who you can tell them, just contact your physician, or
Absolutely.
if you have those questions, you can refer them.
Absolutely.
So, I know how I'm almost as world traveled as you are. So suppose I'm in this city and I come have a treatment, you find something, and I need more help, and I have to leave. How are you going to get that to me?
There's many ways.
Okay.
I happen to belong to an organization that has members worldwide. So we could go into our website and find another practitioner in the area. We have a great resource in the internet. So we can actually Google for practitioners in a particular area. And then, unless the client would ask me to make the contact for him, what I would do is I would give him options of people that can actually continue to work with him and help him, and then let him make the decision if and when he wants to go. Important to know also that sometimes we deal with people who have problems that are not only physical but that are also emotional. And as much as we would like to tell them, of suggestions that they can follow, the proper thing is to recommend them to see a mental health professional.
But suppose I wanted you to work on me and I had to go out of town, say, and I'm comfortable with you. How could you assist that for me?
There's another way.
Oh, another way.
The other way, energy is not bound by time and space like we are. Mm-hmm. And in our training, we activate a symbol. And that symbol allows us to send this energy long distance. So what we do is we treat you at a distance. I assure you, you will feel what I'm doing. I will feel what you're doing, because what that symbol does, it brings you here. So we're not separated energetically speaking. We are working together. So I can scan you, I can feel you, and most of the time you can feel me. So we can do this treatment remotely or long distance as well.
Great. Well, that's a lot of options there. So for our viewers, I want them to know, because one of the main things with this episode and with this program that we're doing, I want our viewers to know exactly the changes in the thought processes of our community. So now currently you are working with some physicians at some of the local hospitals. Explain to our viewers a little bit about what you're doing with that.
Okay, primarily what I'm doing is education, because although Reiki and other therapies that are known as complementary, and I will define what that is in a moment, public really doesn't know about them. And the ones who know or have heard about them, they don't fully understand them. So there's always a concern as to what is it really that we're doing. So now I personally have been very, very blessed by receiving a lot of support from the medical community. I speak at most local hospitals. I speak primarily to cancer groups, which is my passion and my love, what I committed to do, focus on the cancer patients and those with terminally ill situations. And now we're in a position where we're educating the public. I was so happy Last Friday I did a presentation at a hospital and the doctor is telling them, you need to be trying Reiki. It's good for you. It works. It helps. So when it comes from the mouth of a physician, it has more power, more credibility than if we stand in the corner and start advertising it. Because people don't know who we are. People don't know how strict and serious our training has been. But they know the training of a physician is something that needs to be taken very seriously. So now we have validation to what we're doing. Now we have some seriousness that people are seeing in the type of work that we do. So this is out of our kitchens. It's no longer considered a taboo, or people who are not very educated. Much to the opposite, people are now looking for these complementary therapies, and Reiki just happens to be one of them. But there's massage, there's singing, there's dancing, all of those things that can bring you into a better mental health in the sense of reducing your levels of stress. It's helping the process of illness tremendously.
So give me one or two examples of some of the cases that you've worked with and where you've seen someone go, the changes in them through a Reiki therapy or a Reiki session.
The changes are amazing. And sometimes they happen with just one session, but that is really not the norm. What I see that I can say across the board is that immediate feeling of peace within yourself. I love, and my passion is working again with cancer patients. What happens to a cancer patient when they hear the diagnosis is just, I have to go get a calendar so I can mark how many days I have left of my life. What I work with them, and again, the process of Reiki aids me in this, is letting them know that each day is a gift, and each day needs to be valued and treasured. Whether you have 40 days left or whether you have 360, it really doesn't matter. For them to say, this is what I have to deal with right now. What can I do to learn to enjoy the life that I have left? And that is really the biggest transformation. And what we're finding is that people who change that negative thought about illness and incorporate that as what they're dealing with as part of their life right now, what we're seeing is all the things that look so bad start falling off. Mm-hmm. They get their chemo and the side effects are not that bad. Mm-hmm. They have a surgery, they recuperate sooner without less pain involved, with less pain medication, with shorter recuperation time. And I always tell them this is not magic. When your body feels good, when you have a positive mental attitude, things change in your life for the better. So we may not live 20 more years, maybe we will live only 5, but those 5 are going to be good years, meaningful years, and that's really one of the greatest things that Reiki does.
So what I'd like to ask you too, and now is, so someone who is receiving Reiki, isn't it even remotely possible that they would heal or they would get better? Because I've noticed that maybe in many forms I've seen with people doing Reiki is that it's not a guaranteed healing, because what is a healing, it is guaranteed because you do get better. But sometimes people have even been known to go into remission, or let's take another illness other than cancer. Someone who's maybe having a surgery, their recovery time has been improved, their mode of life has been improved. I've heard stories from you and from other people doing a lot of ortho surgeries, going in before, during, and after the surgery, how people have recovered, much faster, less complications, 0 to no infection on many times. And none of those things are guaranteed, but we're seeing more of that, more things progressing, helping that process through. So is there any particular case that just really surprised you, and I don't want you can't say any names, but could you just tell the audience a little bit about maybe one case that you really worked on that may have been a little challenging but then worked out for the better?
Many, but I'm going to use myself.
Okay, there you go.
I went to a Reiki retreat in New York last year with a diagnosis of a torn ACL, a torn meniscus, and a Baker's cyst, all in the same knee. I was having great difficulty walking, and I was at the right place at the Reiki retreat. everybody wanted to work on my knee, and I let everybody work on my knee. So the day after I came back from the retreat, I had my surgery. The first surprise is I had no pain whatsoever. They tell me, you need to take a pain pill at 3 in the morning, and probably they had given me some already without me even knowing about it. So I wake up at 3, set up the alarm clock. I said, why am I going to take this? I don't have any pain. So I never, ever, ever took a single pill for my pain. I had really beautiful recuperation time, 0 pain. I went to the doctor and I asked him, oh, I didn't know I had a torn ACL. And he said, it wasn't torn. And I said, but the radiologist and you told me that it was torn. I have the results and I have the MRI. He says, well, I don't know what happened. It wasn't torn when we went in. So I'm not saying that it was a miracle that happened, but something did happen. I personally feel that energy heals a lot of things, and perhaps because I received that much energy, it aided and improved my situation. So other cases, I have seen people who had a kidney surgery that I have been there to give them Reiki before and after the surgery, and they have been walking by the nurse's station that same day at 5 o'clock, and the nurses kept saying, but he's not like a typical kidney surgery patient. What is different about him? And I said, I kind of helped him a little bit. I gave him Reiki before and after. And she says, oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. So it helps. I think the power of your mind is important too. What we call now mind over matter, mind-body connection. So when you have that positive thinking and you have that trust in a process, and you have the trust that you can heal and do well, I think that affects your whole body. So that's part also of my experience with Reiki. Recuperation times, absence of pain, reducing the need for pain medication, less bleeding. Beautiful things happen at so many levels.
That's got me all excited. So now that you got me excited, I'm sure some of the people in the audience too, how does one get involved, or how does one, what is the avenues one should go if one wanted to learn about Reiki?
Okay, right now they're excellent qualified teachers. What I would suggest is that you find somebody that has been officially and properly trained, that you're receiving the correct information and the latest information in terms of how to practice. I'm particularly proud of my organization because we live by a code of ethics, and we have codes of practice as well. We take our jobs very seriously, and we see this as a calling. We don't see this as a business. We feel that it's what we need to do to help mankind. Now, I want to bring one point that's very important. We cannot offer a guarantee, like you said before, and there's a big difference between a cure and a healing. Cure means absence of illness. Healing means you can still have the illness, but you still have a beautiful quality of life. And that's something that we need to find out, what is it that we can do to bring that quality of life for us. And sometimes we have to search, sometimes we need to ask, sometimes we need to find other people that share their experiences. But it is possible, and certainly Reiki can improve our quality of life. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. It has been offered now in over 800 hospitals. There are volunteer groups that are coming to the hospitals to treat the patients, and the results are speaking for themselves. There's a lot of research documenting the benefits of Reiki, and the most beautiful thing is that anybody can do it. Because when we think about it, we all were born healers.
Yes.
What is the first thing that we do when we knock our heads? Our hands go to our head and we rub. That's a Japanese technique. Also, when you do Reiki, you rub too. So we're natural born healers. It's just for us to be able, to make the decision. I want to learn this, not only for me, because by the way, we can self-treat with Reiki. We can treat ourselves every day if we choose to. But also we can extend that service to somebody else. And that's really what Reiki is to me. It's not only a way of life, but it's also a way in which we can service those in needs. And that's where your biggest and greatest satisfactions come from. When you see the changes happening in someone that came to you, not knowing what they wanted, feeling completely deprived of any happiness in their lives, and now they have an understanding, I can change my life, but I need to be committed to that change. So it's a beautiful, beautiful practice, it really is.
So tell us about, you have someone coming to the city?
Yes, my teacher,
Okay.
my sensei, his name is Frank Arjaua. And Arjaua has been so crucial in teaching people about Reiki, but most important, going to the roots of Reiki, to where he has been able to capture the pure Reiki from Japan. When Reiki came out of Japan into the rest of the world, and we give credit to a lady by the name of Hawaii Takata, who brought it through Hawaii, different elements were incorporated into the system of Reiki that were good, they serve a purpose, but they were not part of the original make of Reiki as Dr. Usui had encountered and developed in around 1922. So there was that desire to go back to basics. Just like we're doing now, people are looking into different herbs, different lotions made of natural aromatherapy, going back to the things that everybody thought that they didn't work, and now we're saying, yeah, it was a good thing. Acupuncture, so many things that perhaps went into disuse, and now being brought back. So Arjaua was crucial in going through Japan and researching the pure history of Reiki. So now we have the opportunity of studying Jikiden Reiki in New Orleans in May 2016. And it's a wonderful opportunity because we can go to the real roots of how Reiki was. And the good news is what I came up with, the phrase, simple is better. And we've always said that about makeup, but the less you put on, the better you look. So now we're seeing the same thing in the healing arts. That we don't need to do complicated, complex things for them to work. Actually going to the root and being simple is really what's bringing the greatest results. So that's why my teacher is coming here to New Orleans to teach us Jikiden Reiki. I got in May, I received my Shihan level, which is my master teacher level from Japan. So all our credentials come out of Japan, including our certificates that are just absolutely gorgeous.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put that information at the end, so if anybody in New Orleans area is interested in learning more, they can contact you. You can talk to them a little bit about Reiki and about the guests that you have coming in town. And so tell me, again, if I'm a practitioner, I want to come seek it out. What is my first step I should take?
You first take, in wanting to become a student, finding a qualified teacher.
So here in New Orleans, that would be you, of course.
Oh, well, I'm happy about that. Yes, I teach different systems of Reiki. If you're in an area where you don't know or nobody can refer a teacher that they have experience with or that they know of, there's websites. International Center for Reiki Training has a beautiful website that you can look for teachers by state, and it's a center that was developed by William Lee Rand. That's the material that I use to teach. Wonderful, wonderful manual. Excellent information, is exactly what every student should learn. And what I am most proud of is, like I said before, the code of ethics by which we practice and teach. And to me that's very important. It's a very solid organization, a very serious organization, and people who belong to it are really proud.
Okay, I have one question more to ask before we conclude. And that would be, so I'm out here and I'm looking to study with someone. is there something, how would I check someone's credentials? How would I know that the person that I'm going with is a master or is good, how do I not fall into the wrong hands? I guess that's how I want to answer.
Okay, after looking in those websites, there's also a Jikiden Reiki website that you can look into Jikiden practitioners. We're speaking of two different systems of Reiki here. Ask questions. I'm a firm believer that your intuition tells you if you're really talking to the right person. As for credentials, as for what type of training have they had, how long have they been practicing? So ask questions that are important for you to ask.
And and if I get that answer, is there a website I could follow up on? Or are y'all registered on a website? You know what I'm saying? Are those websites, is that also a registry?
There is no registry to my knowledge of independent practitioners in their websites. Just about every practitioner that is serious about their work has their own website in which they explain what classes are offered, dates, a little bit about ourselves, and I'm speaking of my own website that I named Amazing Reiki because I really believe that Reiki is amazing. So if you go to my website, you will find a little bit of information about me, a little bit of information about my training, and then information about what classes will be offered and when.
And that would help me determine, because I could research the different types that you mentioned and stuff.
Exactly.
Because in this field, and we are both in metaphysical fields, you meet people who go take a weekend course somewhere and come out and feel that they can cure the world, and you meet someone who maybe didn't even take a course, went to some shady website, they printed them out a certificate and sent it. So I'm just trying to help our viewers avoid those types.
I believe that instruction and education should be face-to-face. Also, there are some people who do initiations or attunements to the Reiki energy online. Usui never did that. We don't do that type of things either because we take responsibility in the students that we teach. And we also respect that honor and that tradition that goes along with being a Reiki practitioner. So we like our contact to be face-to-face, and everything we do is with the student present. And I think that's really important.
Great. Well, Tianne, you got me all excited. I'm probably lay down here in a minute and let you do some work on me.
Why not?
I really thank you for joining us today.
Okay, I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope it comes through how much I believe in this work and how much I love what I do, and the results are really, really the best reward any practitioner
I know it will.
can get.
Well, thank you, audience. That concludes another episode of Metaphysical Moments. Good night. Namaste.